Functions possess statelessness when they're not affected by what's happening outside of the scope of that function. So in that sense, they're pure function. They're pure functions in the sense that whatever your input value, as long as that's the same, you're always going to get the same output. Let's have a look at a pure function that possesses statelessness. So we're going to have a very simple function, and it's going to just take one input, and we're going to do it's going to have y equals 1, and then it's just going to be x equals x plus y, and then I'm just going to return x. So that's our pure function, and we're going to look at how this works. We're going to set y to be 1 here outside of the scope, and then if you do print func, so we're going to call the function with, say, value 12, and then we're going to change our value of y here. We're going to print our function now. Again, we're going to do 12. So save that and run it, and we can see what's going to happen here. So you'll notice in this case we have set our value y to be 1 initially, and then we set it to be 2, but that doesn't matter. It hasn't been affected. It hasn't affected the outcome of the function, regardless of what the values of y are. That y are outside of the scope of the function. They haven't influenced what's going on inside the function, and so our input is, even though it's the same, the output's going to be the same. So therefore, in this case, we have a pure function. It's not influenced by what's going outside of the scope. Contrast this now to a function that's not pure and doesn't have the characteristics of statelessness. So I'm going to modify this function to demonstrate this. I'm going to modify this now so that this variable y is now global, and it's influenced by what's happening outside of the scope in this instance. And let's just see what the output has. So now we have, in this case, we set y to be 1, and when we call our function with 12, we get 13 because we're adding 1 to it, because our globally defined y is set to 1. And then the second time, again, we call it with the same value of x, which is 12, but because y is now different, we get a different output. So what we're saying now is that even though our inputs are the same, we're getting a different output. So this is not a pure function, and it's influenced by what's going on outside of the scope of the function itself. So this is not, doesn't possess statelessness.